Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Have You Ever Played podcast, the only podcast that forgot to come up with a funny thing to put here before starting. I'm Matt, aka Matt Fondude, and I'm once again with my co host.
Yes, I am James. Sometimes, occasionally, also known as AKA James 04E.
You really made him work for it. You really, you
Yes.
really had me in intense. Like, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna do it?
When does he
It's
say
a,
this?
it's
I just
a.
won't say it. I'll just say nothing.
Honestly, I would probably just have a panic attack, like live on this recorded podcast. Just if you just started saying
Yeah.
nothing, and I'm just like, fill for time. No dead air. No dead air. Oh man. Well, welcome to the side quest episode today. Our vague outline of a topic is we're going to talk about like mobile games a bit. Our side quest episodes, they're very free form. We'll just kind of we'll go around and figure out different things to talk about. But I think as a general, I was looking at my phone and I've been playing a lot more mobile games recently because I'm kind of like on the go and I have only my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've been like, we'll have some like time wasting kind of mobile games. And yeah, I don't know. Have you been dipping your toe into any mobile games as of recent?
Not recently. I actually don't have any mobile games on my phone right now. I have no games on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I did used to be into a couple mobile games. I mean, besides the standard like Angry Birds and like a little bit of Castle Crashers. I remember I played Bleach Brave Souls. It's a gotcha game. And I remember there was like God, I think it was like summer 2019. Uh I was like looking at my bank account and I'm like, what happened to all my money? This is really weird. And then I realized I spent like $300 trying to roll for a character that I didn't even end up getting.
Oh, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
You were looking kind of like Moby Dick for a second there. You were almost a whale. You were at the precipice of
Man.
like potentially putting in too much money into a gacha style game.
Yeah, right then and there I cut it off.
Yeah, I think modern mobile games, they a lot of them have that gacha kind of mechanic. Looking back at, maybe we should talk about the origins of mobile gaming in terms of what I started playing.
Mhm.
I was playing mobile games on like one of those flip phones, which that's a whole another world. Have you ever played any flip
Yeah.
phone mobile games?
Um, when I had a flip phone, I played Tetris. I remember.
Hmm.
But I think that was it. But it was weird. I had one of those phones that I guess it technically wasn't a flip phone. Like it had a touchscreen, and then you'd like open it up and had like the texting thing.
Okay, it had a touchscreen. It's a little bougie.
Yeah, it was weird. But like, yeah, you had to like open it up to play Tetris.
Yeah, I'm talking like I mean, Tetris is gonna work on anything you put it on.
Yeah.
Um, when I was a kid, I was pestering my parents because they had a phone,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, let me look at the phone games," because I'm like, "Oh, gaming on a phone, cool." And one of the games I bought was called Call of Duty
Oh
for
no.
for the flip phone, which for reference, basically, I don't think it even had a color screen. I think it was like one of those calculator screens, basically.
Oh no.
Um, So I'm like, it probably costs like $10, and it's like billed to your cell phone bill. So I'm like
Hmm.
playing Call of Duty, and it's just this like monstrosity top down like Metal Gear NES style shooter game, which was just not like nothing. And it is crazy to me how many games like old school mobile games exist like that.
Yeah, I remember my parents would get mad at me because of the cell phone bill because I was playing Tetris.
Pay per block in Tetris.
Yes, pay per block.
That's like a modern convention. I think the true golden age of mobile gaming, at least to be a boomer about it, I'm sure nowadays there's honestly some really good games that are actually very well suited for mobile.
Hmm.
The golden age, I would say, is like the iPod Touch era where Angry
Yes.
Birds was at its height, Fruit Ninja, all
Oh
those games.
god.
I was like so invested.
Yeah, and like the like lighter that you could have on your phone and the lightsaber, the like
Oh, the
beer or
beer,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man, that was
Dude,
a classic. People were putting their mouths on their iPod touches. That was yeah, that was pretty gross.
dude, so my sister, this is podcast lore, but my sister um got an iPod Touch, and I didn't care. I was like, oh, it's music or whatever. Like I didn't care at all when she
Hmm.
was getting it. Like we were in the store together or whatever, and she was like, she got the iPod Touch, and when she got home and she was showing me like there's games on it and stuff. Like it's basically like a video game system, and like you can play games, and there's weird like media like 9gag, which
Hmm.
I was on that 9gag train. I missed iFunny, but I
Oh
was on that
man,
the 9gag, which is funny to think about.
9 gag.
Dude, just old like yeah, I have my iPod Touch still. It would be kind of funny to like power that up to see what apps I had installed.
Oh god, I'd be
Uh,
surprised if it still works.
yeah, the battery. Have you seen old iPods where the battery just starts getting like swelling over time?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's called. There's a subreddit called Spicy Pillows, I think, which is it shows people's bloated devices where their like lithium batteries about to explode.
Hmm.
Mhm.
God,
Yeah, did
yeah, yeah.
you
I'm
what
looking it up right now. Like all the pictures of the phone or of the iPod just bending.
Oh yeah, that was horrifying. I'm sure like I have just drawers full of old electronics that I'm probably are gonna like blow up. Which I gotta figure that out.
Yeah.
That's a weird problem to have nowadays with all that like tech waste where it's like I pretty much keep everything I've owned electronically. So I have like a PSP Go that's broken that probably could be fixed honestly. I think just some wires
Hmm.
probably got knocked loose. But I just, have all this weird tech waste stuff. Um Never to be used again. Well, maybe
Hmm.
if there's like a wave of nostalgia, we'll hit up the old iPod Touch. But
Maybe one day.
um, yeah, Angry Birds, like all those games. Now, I on the iPod Touch era of time, I think one of like actually yeah. So like I think originally with a lot of the mobile games, you had Angry Birds. What are some? I mean, you mentioned all the novelty apps where it's like
Hmm.
one of them was an Xbox emulator, and you would turn it on, and then the Xbox logo would appear, and then it would red ring of death and be like, "Yep, that's get it. It's the Xbox emulator."
Yeah, God, the simple things that would entertain us back then. God,
Yeah, there
there
was a
was
lot of
one game.
spectacle.
There's one game I'm trying to think about. It was like a 2D game where like you're fighting zombies and like upgrading your guns or something.
Huh. Yeah, I'm playing a similar. I'm playing a game called Survivor.io right now, which is a it's a mobile game that is it's kind of like so there's a genre of gaming which I never realized called like the survivor kind of genre. I think that's what it's
Hmm.
called. But the game Vampire Survivor and like 20 Minutes to Survive or something like that are in
Hmm.
that genre where you're basically it's like a roguelike, you're a character and you run around getting items and doing like killing a bunch of things, kind of grindy.
Hmm.
Um Now, I didn't realize that was a genre, but that there's a mobile game called Survivor.io that actually does a pretty good job of uh continuing my fascination of vampire survivors into a mobile format. And I think
Hmm.
that game works very successfully because all you do is move in the game. Like there's no buttons, you just move around with your thumb. And I think that's a
Hmm.
huge thing about mobile games that makes them unfun is controls.
Yeah. Okay, the game I was thinking about was called Zombieville USA.
Zombieville. Let me look this up real quick.
Yeah.
Zombieville USA. Oh, that app logo is very familiar to me. Oh, I played
Yeah.
this. I totally played this.
Yeah, it was just like a horizontal scroller. It's literally just like two buttons. You move and you shoot.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at this logo, if you Google at home Zombieville USA, if you were around the iPod Touch era, you would probably have seen this logo. This just
Hmm.
awoken like a deep memory.
Yep.
Um, Also in the space of zombie mobile games, Plants vs Zombies being like the goat of mobile gaming for a while.
Yeah.
That was my first experience with that game was on the iPod Touch.
Hmm. Yeah, I
That's a
think.
really good mobile game still to this day. Like just how it's set up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my first experience with that game was on browser. I can't
Mhm.
remember actually. Maybe I did play it on mobile.
Perhaps we should do a Flash game episode one time, just of all the like the nostalgic Flash games we've played or
Yeah,
something like
maybe.
that. Maybe on the anniversary of the death of Flash, whatever that was.
Yeah, when is that?
What if that's like today? It's just like
I'm
out of
gonna look it
like,
up.
completely out of nowhere.
Death of
Yeah.
Flash King. It'd be December 31st. Yeah, it was December 31st, 2020, I believe.
Oh, so we're coming up on it. That might actually
Yeah.
be a good topic. Um, but yeah, going back to the more of the earlier mobile games and stuff like that. I think World of Goo. Have you ever played World of Goo?
No, I don't think so. Let me look it
Do
up.
you know Little Inferno or there's some other games that this company made where they're like these puzzle games. Now, World of Goo, I think is one of the better. So, World of Goo was released on PC. It's on the Wii as well. It's
Hmm.
on a bunch of other things. I honestly think playing World of Goo on like an iPad kind of deal is like the best way to experience that game. It's
Hmm.
basically a puzzle game where you can grab these goo globules and you make like structures out of them by moving them around. And with being able to have multi-touch, you can move multiple things at once and do all this kind of crazy stuff. And yeah, that's a game we may visit on the podcast potentially as a game,
Okay.
or I might just stream it. I haven't played that game in a while.
Yeah, it looks a
Uh,
little familiar, but I don't believe I played it. This
yeah,
actually
there are
reminded
some.
me. This reminded me of, remember in high school when they gave us iPads and
Oh
everybody
yeah,
just
which was
played
a
games
horrible
on them.
mistake.
Everybody played games on them, so they took them away after like 2 years and just gave us Chromebooks.
Yeah, not to like get into the minutia of our childhood rearing, but we're kind of one of the first generation. We're in a weird generation between there was computers, but it was like dial up AOL. And we were kind of at the advent, like our high school era was kind of the more like adding technology to classrooms. So yeah, they gave us
Hmm.
iPads to, which was just such a bad idea because that was also the time of like Flappy Bird and like the
Yes.
novelty challenge game of the month, which is
Oh
honestly
my
one of my
god.
other favorite genres of mobile games. The like when you're in a class and someone looks at you and it's like, "Yo, bro, have you played Octopus Jumper Simulator 2?" Like that's the new game right now. It's the new hotness. It's like the challenge game. Like you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. God, I remember freshman year in my history class. Um, the entire class stopped because Flappy Bird got taken off the Apple Store, and everybody was like trying to make sure they all had it downloaded, and everybody was just playing it. Like even the teacher was.
hmm
It was so ridiculous.
I gotta say, Flappy Bird still fire, still fun.
Mm,
It's I mean, there's so many versions of Flappy Bird now because the original was taken down. Uh, for the creator took it down because it was getting too successful. I don't know the full
yeah,
story
I
behind
don't
that. I
even
don't think
remember.
anyone does.
Yeah,
I think his name was like Guy Nguyen or something. Uh,
yeah.
Something like that.
He definitely
Now,
had a name
yeah, definitely one of the
that
names
I
of
can
gaming.
confirm.
Yeah, so that was. I mean, the I can't think of. There's like a Daddy Longlegs game. Have you ever played that one? Where you're a
Uh,
spider and you just have to like every time you click, it's almost like Quap style. Every time you click, your legs, you move forward. It's kind of one of those like Quap
oh
style
wait, yeah,
challenge
yeah, yeah.
games.
I do remember this. I played this a little. I
Yeah,
got
that
really
one was good.
frustrated.
hmm I'm trying to think of other like there was one where it was like so Flappy Bird was the king of it. Then there was one where someone in my class it was like an octopus that you had to jump over something. It was like a jump rope octopus thing. I genuinely cannot remember what that was.
Octopus jump rope.
That was some like D tier, probably stealing your personal information kind of game. Like
Well, if
I
you
don't
Google
know what the
octopus
hell.
jump rope, you get a lot of weird shirts.
Yeah, I'm sure. Um, yeah, there's a lot of, or actually, you know what else is a mobile like experiences? Do you know when there's like certain apps where it's kind of like a there was an app called I think it was called like French Girls or something like that, and it was a drawing app. I don't know if it exists anymore, but basically it was you would put a picture of yourself or anything you want someone to draw. So you would upload a picture and then you could choose to draw it in the app, so you would draw the picture and then you would see what people did. I mean,
Uh-huh.
anything where you're uploading pictures is going to get abused, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's probably why they don't exist anymore. But like experience stuff like that was fun. Anything that kind of used the medium of mobile and didn't like there are limitations to mobile, but if you work within those limitations, they can be a strength to your game or app.
Yeah.
And like Crossy Roads, I'm looking at my phone right now. That's a classic game. It's Frogger for a new generation. All you do is tap the
New
screen.
gen
It's really
Frogger.
simple controls.
Hmm.
hmm
See if I
Um,
can find any old stuff that I deleted.
yeah. Do you remember? So there's also the time of ports. Things like console games were getting ported to mobile, which is happening a lot more now. But
Hmm.
one of the earlier ports I remember is there was the first way I played Doom was there's a Doom
What?
2 RPG version for iOS, and
No.
I don't know what. So it's like it played like Doom, but it had like RPG elements where you would level up things, and I honestly can't remember it. I don't know why I played that version of Doom, but and it is kind of like a fever dream of like, did I play that? Like, what is this version? Maybe it still exists. Let me look at my phone right now
Oh
to
no.
feel like Doom 2 like RPG version. Okay, nothing is showing up. They just have like the regular Doom and stuff like that. What I need to find this because it was like I swear it was like the regular Doom, but it had weird RPG elements or something. It's strange.
Oh man. So I was looking through my like history of purchased stuff on the App Store, and I found Mobius Final Fantasy, and I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
I have like no memories of this game. Why? And then I was like, oh wait, I remember. I tried to play this game, and my phone melted.
Mobius Final Fantasy. I'm looking at this right now. Private server. What is this? But it's like a Final Fantasy like phone MMO. Oh wow, this actually
Yeah.
looks really good
Yeah, I remember it
visually.
was pretty cool. Like I saw a YouTube video of it. I'm like, wow, I just want to play it.
Oh wow, yeah, this actually looks pretty cool. Um, yo, shoutouts to Final Fantasy 15's mobile version. Have you seen that?
No, I actually haven't.
Okay, Google Final Fantasy 15 mobile version now. So do you know Final Fantasy 15, right?
Yeah.
And how it's like the
Oh
boy
my
band
god.
simulator, which a game I actually really like. Like I genuinely like that game a lot.
Hmm.
So they made a mobile version of Final Fantasy 15, which is honestly kind of impressive, where they took this really high fidelity, like graphical, like next generational game, and they took all the story and turned all the characters into like chibi art characters and like completely remade the game for mobile, which is like insane to do.
Yeah.
And I think you can buy it on PC too. I think you can buy this version. I don't think people like this version, but it is like impressive that it even was made in the first place.
Yeah.
Um.
What else do I have on here? Oh my god, Pokemon Go.
Oh wait, yeah. What talking about mobile games? One of like that took over. What was that like
Oh my.
2016 or something?
Yeah, it was summer 2016.
Dude, that
Oh
took
my
over like the
god.
world.
Yeah,
And
that game was insane.
I probably still would be playing Pokemon Go to this day if they didn't like fumble it so hard at launch.
Hmm.
Like I remember me and my friends, we were all like, trying to play the game, and then there was connection issues. You couldn't get into the game. It was glitchy. Everything was breaking. It was making my phone like overheat at the time. It was just all these issues, and people were waiting for the next generation of Pokemon to be added, which they did eventually do. And there's a ton of features
Hmm.
now, but it was too little, too late. I think.
Yeah. All I remember is it made people go outside.
Yeah.
Like I would randomly see people I know just like while I was walking around playing Pokemon Go, and we would just like look at each other and acknowledge like, yeah, we're both here for the same reason.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like you would see hordes of people. Like
Hmm.
you would literally see people going to Pokestops or like gyms, and
Yeah.
you could kind of still see that happen. Not hordes, but you'll see people doing it. If you have your eyes peeled, you could see if someone's still playing Pokemon Go. Like they
Yeah.
have that look about them.
I remember
Uh
there was a Pokestop at a church near where I live, and I remember like they were getting so many people coming there, and like all the people at the church were so confused.
oh yeah, why are people here? A lot of businesses were capitalizing on that. They were like,
Hmm.
but a lot of bars had signs where it's like, we're gonna be dropping incense all day, happy hour, come in. And it is really crazy because you did kind of
Hmm.
feel. I will say to give a lot of flack to Pokemon of as of now, because the new Pokemon game is either out or coming out, Scarlet and whatever, which looks like a buggy, horrible mess. They keep releasing a new game every other year, and it's like terrible. But
Yeah.
to give props to Pokemon as a franchise, it did feel really cool riding your bike in real life up and down the street to try to hatch eggs like you do in the game. Like
Hmm.
at one point I was like I'm literally walking back and forth in a straight line like you do in the video game in real life to hatch these eggs. And it did feel kind of like this really cool next generation of AR gaming,
Hmm.
which Niantic tried to recapture again with Pikmin Bloom or whatever. And I played a little bit of that Pikmin game, and then I realized it wasn't really a game like at all. It's just kind of um, walking with extra steps. But still,
Man,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. For that one summer, it felt like Pokemon were real.
It really was a magical time. Like that is something you cannot reproduce. It
Hmm.
was the like a time in our life that you had to be there kind of deal
Yeah.
because it was everywhere, like everything, like even like people you normally wouldn't think were playing games, like everyone was doing it.
Hmm.
That's like one of the big fads of our lifetime, I guess, that we experienced.
Yeah. Honestly, I find it really funny that like if I guess especially with COVID, I like appreciate how what that game did even more because like yeah, 4 years before COVID, they got everybody to like they got gamers to not sit in their house all day,
Yeah, and
and
I
then we
think a
just all
lot
had to
of
go back to
people,
it.
yeah, that we had to do it. Um, I think a lot of people actually like lost a lot of weight playing the game, and like some people were
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I liked playing Pokemon, but it's kind of like opened my eyes to exercising." And a lot of people, I think, got really kind of fit, which is pretty
Hmm.
cool. Like, I think overall, cynicism aside, with big Pokemon as a company, I think it was a kind of a healthy like cultural phenomenon, and
Yeah.
they really did kind of fumble it there by having it just like not work in like the prime time of people caring.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
What else
I
do I
wonder.
have?
So, I mean, I guess Fortnite Mobile, and like
Fartnite
it is
Mobile.
crazy now that you can just have like an on par experience with like a Call of Duty mobile or like a
Yeah.
Fortnite mobile or a PUBG mobile.
I remember when they
And now,
first released Call
yeah,
of Duty Mobile, it was like very, very different, if I remember correctly, and it was like it was a combination of a bunch of different COD games back then. I don't know if it still is.
yeah, I don't know either. I haven't played it.
Yeah.
It is funny to think that our generation of like early mobile games were more akin to flash games,
Hmm.
and now they're almost on par with like AAA level games in terms of visual fidelity. Like gameplay, they're always simplified because you can't really have that much
Yeah.
complicated gameplay with touchscreen. And I guess one example of this I was looking into recently is uh, Maple Story. So when I was a kid, Maple Story was great. I was playing Maple Story on the computer, and I was like, "Oh man, Maple Story! I want to play it on my phone." And that wasn't the case. There was actually a weird DS and I think a phone version of like a weird single player Maple Story game where it was
Hmm.
different than the actual game. But nowadays, you can just straight up play Maple Story Mobile, which is pretty much like on par with the main game. It's crazy to me. And like old school RuneScape and Albion Online, two other MMOs, those are just they have mobile clients. You can just play them. It's the same account.
Hmm.
And I guess Genshin Impact too, which is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you delved into any Genshin Impact or any of those
No.
games?
No, I have avoided it like the plague. I remember when I went to San Francisco earlier this year, on like every corner, those like cylindrical things that they put ads on, like
Hmm.
every corner had a Genshin Impact ad on one of those. It was insane.
Their ads are really off-putting to me on YouTube because I'm like, I kind of am interested in maybe trying the game at some point just because it seems like it could be fun. Although I mean, the payment stuff is like abysmal. But the ads are all like, "The little girl has been added to the game. Will you
Yeah.
adopt her and be her daddy?" And it's just like, "Adopt me." And I'm like, "What? Like, why am I? What is this ad?" I'm trying to watch my 10-hour video essay on Oblivion, and
Yeah.
every like 1 minute on the YouTube mobile app, I'm getting ads for like Genshin Impact that are just like really putting me off the game. Like, no, I don't. This is not
Man,
appealing to me. I'm not vibing with this.
I'm not vibing with this.
Yeah. Then there's that other game that came out that I don't even remember. It's called like Tower maybe or something. There's like a
Tower.
spacey kind of Genshin Impact themed game, but it's basically like the same game, but
Hmm.
just like a newer version. I don't know.
Do they have ad blocks for mobile YouTube or ad blockers for it?
Uh, so I'm on an Android phone, so there's
Hmm.
probably more leeway to getting like an ad blocked kind of deal. There was a YouTube app that had an ad block, but I think that app got like taken down, and I'm sure there's a way to get it, but I'm kind of okay with whatever. Or you could
Yeah.
buy YouTube Red.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to YouTube Red existing. YouTube. All right, I have a
That's
bone to
organized.
pick real quick too. So YouTube used to have the capability of you could play a video in the background and then turn your phone off and just listen to
Yes.
audio. And then they got rid of that to make it a feature for YouTube Red just to have some sort of reason to pay for it.
Yes.
And that's like terrible. So I will literally listen to like YouTube like video essays and I'll have to have my phone on in my pocket just draining battery.
You wanna
It's
know what's
just like
actually kind of
why?
funny? So I have an iPhone, and they like kind of brought that back with the recent iOS update, where it's if you have an app that has a video, like it could just be a video in Safari, Twitch, or YouTube. If you go to the home screen, there's like a mini player on the top right, and you can swipe it to the right to make it like hide, and you can bring it back out
Mhm.
whenever you want. And so for every other form of video, like any other app, it'll just keep playing. But for YouTube, if you swipe it to the side and hide it for like 10 seconds, the video will just pause.
Yeah, they intentionally sabotage it to make it have a feature to like be
Yeah.
paid for, which is like insane. Yeah, that's very very cool. I'm trying to think of other like novelty. I mean, at least with Android, going I was on the I had an iPhone, I think I had an iPhone 4. I had an
Hmm.
iPod Touch, but then I made the transition to the Android world.
Hmm.
And when with Android there's a more lax Google Play Store, which leads to things like emulators, and I mean emulation on Android is pretty good honestly. You can do a lot. Um so some of my gaming experiences were just emulating Game Boy games that I've played 100 times already, and I have a Game
Hmm.
Boy like off screen that I could just be playing it on. But you know, WarioWare Twisted on your phone is actually a pretty good experience. It uses the gyroscope and stuff.
Yep.
Weirdly enough, Boktai, a game we definitely will cover on the stream. The weird
Oh,
Konami
that one.
vampire isometric Game Boy Solar game.
Hmm.
Yeah, it. When I played it on my phone at one point, you could use the light sensor in your phone to emulate the solar stuff, which was actually a pretty good way of playing that game. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh wait, I was just looking at like I thought we were getting a live question for the pod, but I think my friend Pomp, who's been on stream and is a notable moderator of my chat, he's been messaging me nonstop about Pokemon news right now because that game is like a dumpster fire.
Man.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw a bunch of tweets about people comparing that to like other Switch games.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
man, it
Switch is
was
the mobile games console of the consoles if you think about it, because like
yeah.
it has the quality of some mobile games or less so.
Hmm.
Not to like dunk on the Switch hardware wise, but yeah, it's unfortunate that the Switch is kind of underpowered. But I mean, the Switch is great, and Nintendo first party games are always pretty great. Although I have a little bit of a bone to pick with the most recent two Kirby games run at 30 FPS, and it's
Ooh.
like it's I mean they both have like 4 player co-op or whatever, but it's like it's Kirby and it looks clunky and chunky and like gross.
Clunky and chunky.
Are you a big frame rate like snob when it comes to, at least at a minimum I
Uh,
would say I'm the kind of guy who's like please run at 60. 30 is like usually pretty awful if it's
yeah,
like depending on
I
the
would
game.
yeah, I agree. It has to be 60. I think the only exception I'll make is So right now I'm playing the Warhammer Darktide like beta, and my frames on it are pretty bad. But
Hmm.
so like normally I get 60, but when there's like giant hordes of enemies and stuff, it'll drop to like the 30s. But that at that point I'll accept it because there's so much chaos going on. I'm not seeing anyway, so like it's fine.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I agree with that. I've been more relaxed about it in my later time. Um, but yeah, wait 1 second. Let me just pause. All right, welcome back. There's some ad hoc vacuuming going on right now that I didn't want to pick up on the mic, so hopefully it's all good. Now, yeah, so my thing with frame rate is that it's way worse if a game is stuttering and like screen tearing and you can like really see it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um
yeah, definitely.
there are certain, and I think Kirby is kind of like that where it's like it's so noticeably like it like certain games like you'll play Ocarina of Time, that game runs at like 15 frames a second or something like that and you'll be like, "Oh, this is fine." But when it's a game like I think there's a term, maybe it's frame pacing. I don't know if you're more familiar with this, but
No, not particularly.
yeah, I think there's a whole thing about certain games can look good at 30, but there's a certain, if they're designed to maybe be that way. But if it's like stuttery, unoptimized, laggy, gross, weird, it's just like honestly, Bloodborne, a game that we both really like, um, that game runs at like 12 frames a second, and it's like real
Yeah,
bad. Like genuinely, almost like this game like hurts your eyes, kind of bad. But that game is so good that I'm willing to put up with it to play
yeah.
the game. But it would be better if it was ran at a frame rate. You know,
Mhm.
maybe get rid of some of those boxes you can roll through.
Get rid of some of those boxes.
Yeah. I have a 144 hertz monitor, and I prefer to play things at 144 hertz, whatever. I don't think anything over 60 I really like would care, to be honest. If I can get a
Hmm.
solid frame rate of any kind, I prefer that over choppy. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I necessarily am like crazy in that regard, but I don't know. Like one of the things that was weird to me is I was playing this Game Boy Advance game called Summon Knight Swordcraft Story, I think is the name of it.
Hmm.
It's like this kind of like hidden gem uh yeah, Swordcraft Story. It's kind of this hidden gem Game Boy game that I just stumbled upon. And the first game runs at 60, I believe. And then the second game is like it's a 2D game and it runs like weird inconsistent like sub 30, 40, like jumps all over the place. And I don't know if it was a weird emulation issue or whatever, but yeah, it's off-putting. I don't know. Have you ever not played a game because it like ran too poorly?
Um, trying to think. I know I have. I just can't remember which games. I believe there was some old like Warhammer game that I played like freshman year of college. Like I remember I started it up. I think I left it open for 2 hours because I started it up. Then I went out. I came back, played the game. Like, wow, this feels awful. I'm gonna Steam refund it. And they're like, oh, you can't do that. You've played it for more than 2 hours. I'm like, damn.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a tragedy.
Yeah, I'm kind of I have a moment like that right now with actually what's funny is Monster Hunter World. I think I did this and I kind of completely forgot about this until right now. Uh Before Monster Hunter World released on PC, I actually did buy it for PS4 and that game
Hmm.
runs like garbage. But I suffered through it a little bit, and also Red Dead Redemption 2 also runs like pretty bad on console.
Hmm.
And that game I bought on PC recently, and it does not run. Like I want to run that game pretty much on max settings to and I have a 1080 right now as my graphics card.
Hmm.
It's I actually got a bunch of like upgraded stuff from my computer. But graphics card I was kind of waiting. I might still just wait a while, figure that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, with The Witcher 3, I did the same thing where at launch, The Witcher 3, I could run the game at 60, I think, but I had to play like half resolution and like on low. You know what I mean? One of those
Yeah,
things where it's
I know
like,
what you mean.
is it even worth playing
Yeah, like
if I'm playing?
once you start touching the resolution, it's kind of you're kind of getting
Yeah,
you're getting to the point where you got to start asking questions.
dude, that was some of the most disheartening feeling in the entire world when you buy a new game and you get in and you're like, maybe it'll run good, and then it's just like you're on the title screen, it's like 40 FPS already. You're like, maybe if
Yeah,
I lower the graphic settings, and you put it to low and nothing changes.
the clunky startup is always the first indication.
I think Cyberpunk I did that with recently too. Although that game actually, even in its broken launch state, did mostly run at 60 in most places.
Hmm.
Um, on like medium, high, whatever settings.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, that was just upsetting. Like they're just buying a new game, and I'm a little worried about that now in terms of games, but like I don't play that many AAA games. I'm playing like Banana Shooter, the indie game that's like $2.
banana
Uh,
shooter.
yeah, I'm at that point where my favorite Steam game is going on to the store page and buying games on sale, and I'm like, ooh, I bought a sale game. Like that's the game I play instead of playing the games I own.
Man,
Oh man. The Steam Deck is a game changer though. Probably one of my favorite consoles I've ever owned. I have it sitting right in front of me.
hmm
Um, you can play you can emulate everything on this thing. You can play like anything on it. It is probably one of the most fun like toys I've gotten. And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't have one personally, but I always hear stories about how it's just like the god handheld like platform. Like it just does everything you'd want. Like it plays any Steam game, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like for like general consumers, it is wonky. There is a lot of learning curve stuff. You'll be watching YouTube tutorials and whatever. But I my other favorite game is getting things to work. So like you'll have the PSP and like downloading custom firmware and then spending 20 hours organizing your ROMs and then
Hmm.
scraping the internet for metadata to get like images. That is a game to me and myself troubleshooting. You're like, "Oh, why does my like I've had a Raspberry Pi I made the Super Nintendo Classic. I put the custom firmware on that. But just like spending hours troubleshooting and being like, oh, I want to get Mario to look like the best it can be, and it's like I'm not gonna sit around and play Mario 1. Like when am I actually reasonably going to sit down and be like, I guess I'll play Mario 1 today on my Steam Deck? It's like no, but I have, but I'll be turning the deck on right now to show James through the video. It's like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna do that, but when I do open my like 400 front ends that I just made to look nice, it's like, oh look at my front end right here. This is
Hmm.
horrible for audio listeners. We don't even have a video component
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
it's agonizing. Y'all are missing out on
Oh yeah,
so much. He's literally. I'm seeing the
check this
most
out.
mind bending stuff of all time.
We got metadata. We got the little video preview. It's
Oh
like
my god.
pointless. It just takes up space. No one needs this, but it's like I don't know. It tickles that brain itch. I my gaming thing is I like this weird like I don't know. I can play like a old school RuneScape or like grindy games, little like dopamine checkmark kind of games. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I think mobile games, going back to our initial topic, nowadays kind of monetize that feeling in a gross way with the gacha stuff. Like you were saying, how you were buying a lot of money to try to get your chance at getting the character.
Yeah.
Um, and before in certain games before monetization like that, it would be like, oh, I would be grinding to try to get this character, but now it's like I'm just gonna be putting money into a machine and hope I get
You
lucky.
have to grind IRL to get the money to get the character.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that maybe it's because I haven't really played that many gacha games. I think I'm trying to avoid it because I think I have that brain type that I would get addicted to it.
Hmm.
Because I, as a kid, I always loved those like the actual gacha machines, like the vending machines that had little toys
Yeah.
in them and stuff. And I would always want to do those and like arcade games like Stacker.
Hmm.
Um, Stacker being my first foray into being like maybe I might have like a gambling addiction if I like pursue this. Because I vividly remember being a kid at a birthday party and Stacker. By the way, you know you're familiar with Stacker, the arcade game, right?
Yeah.
But for people who aren't familiar, it's a game where you have three blocks and you try to. They go back and forth on the screen, and you have one button and it stops them, and you try to make a tower
Hmm.
out of them, and it gets harder as it goes on.
Yeah.
Now, all those machines are rigged because it's actually really easy to win the game itself. The final step is called the major prize, and you'll basically there's a setting the inside of the arcade machine where it's like every 300 games you have a potential to pay out or something like that. So not only do you have to win the game, which can be difficult, but you have to win and also hit that 1 in 300 chance or whatever, and it could
Hmm.
be even higher than that, depending on the location. Because some stacker machines they would give away like a Nintendo Switch or like
Hmm.
an Xbox, and they're like rigged there because you're not gonna be giving away an Xbox every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, they
Um,
just have all those spare Xboxes lying around.
yeah. Well, what if there was an arcade that their odds were so bad? There's like we just keep giving away. We're going bankrupt. We give away 2 Switches every hour. I don't know if it's worth it. And the guy's like, we gotta keep it moving. It's what the kids want. It
It's
brings
what
them in
the
here.
kids want.
It's like we're losing money. It's like the kids get in. We give what 3, 5 of these Switches away. Think of all the quarters we're getting, and it's just the store owner who doesn't understand that more quarters, paper money that's condensed is worth more than a big pile of quarters. He just never
Man.
learned that in that's like a grade school thing to learn. Have you seen those like posts? I think people have done that. Where it's like, my kid's an idiot. Like, I said, can I have your $100 bill for 4 of these quarters? Because there's more fours more than one. It's like, ha ha ha. Just like flexing on a 3 year
Man.
old.
Man, money
Uh,
doesn't even make sense, man. They
your
say
money's
we're in
not
a
even real, bro.
they say we're in a recession right now, and we don't have enough money going around. And I'm like, why don't you just print more? Oh,
Yeah,
because inflation, the price go up. Make it not do that. It's made up.
yeah, dude. Just money. Just print more money. Just give me money. No, I don't know. Money is there is a weird trend of people being like, money isn't even real, dude. Like, why do you even care about it? It's like, okay, yeah, well, money. I mean, in a way that makes sense, I guess. But it's like,
Yeah,
well, there is value. We give money value, so it has value. So I don't know what like you know who says that?
yeah,
People who have money. People
yeah.
who have money say
Money
money
is
isn't real. It
only
doesn't matter.
money is only not real when it's not a problem.
Yeah, that I mean, it's a weird sentiment to have. Maybe I'm misconstruing the entire thing based off of me reading it. Maybe we have some
Uh,
spicy hot takes on this podcast toward the end.
I don't think that's much of a hot take. I think that people that say money isn't real are just
You're not real,
they're either rich or they have rich relatives that pay for everything for them.
dude. I do you know how I know this podcast is going well?
How?
I got a solicited email from a recruiter who's like, "Hi, I'm like Johnny Podcast. Join our like." I was listening to your podcast, and it's like I'm not a bot. It said at the end. It's like
I
I was
am
listening
not
to
a
your
bot. That's a
podcast, and
classic.
maybe you should use our app and join our like podcast network. And I'm like, we're relevant enough that we're getting solicited by strangers, which honestly was
Podcast
kind of like a
network.
it kind of made me pog. Not gonna lie, not to use my Twitcher lingo.
And
Oh, by the
very
way, Twitch
poggers.
lingo has rotted my brain. By the way, just from being on the
Oh yeah.
platform.
Yeah. I know a few people that regularly use Twitch lingo IRL. It's
Yeah,
it's something.
it started as ironic, like all lingo. It starts off ironic, and then you find yourself saying it. Like I think I would say lit and fam and all that kind of stuff ironically, but now it's in my vernacular.
Yeah.
So I can be that like boomer who goes up to the kid like in like 30 years and just be like, "What's up, fam? It's lit." And they're like, "What are you talking about, grandpa?"
What's up, my lits? It's fam.
Oh man, no cap. No cap, it's lit, fam.
Oh my god.
I don't even know. Yeah, like TikTok just makes me feel old. I
Yeah.
post my Twitch clips to TikTok, and I dabble in my feed sometimes just because it's like TikTok is a brain rot, but sometimes it's nice to have your brain rotted. I guess I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, but you just scroll through and it's just like, I'm so old. I feel old, which I'm not. That's the funny thing, because if someone was listening to this and they're like a lot older, they're like, "What are you talking about?" It's just perspective,
Yep.
you know. Talking about our iPod touches. Oh, I remember back in the day, I was
The
playing Fruit
iPod Touch
Ninja before
ones.
it was an arcade cabinet.
Oh my god.
Actually, that's kind of another topic. Have you seen the arcades nowadays? If you go to them, a lot of them are just giant like iPads that just are mobile
Really?
games. Yeah, have you
I
not
haven't
seen
been to an
that?
arcade in a while, actually.
Yeah, like
Oh
I've been to like I've been to a lot of like barcades and like Dave and Buster's and stuff.
god. Mhm.
Yeah, there's like giant. It's just literally Fruit Ninja. It's just a giant tablet. Crossy Roads is one of them that you can play.
Mhm.
The Piano Tiles game. Um, Temple Run. And it is crazy. It's just like, why am I? It's fun to play it on the big screen. And there was a Flappy Bird co-op, like generic Flappy Bird game that I played, and it's like, it is fun to play it on the big screen, but it's like,
Mhm.
why am I paying like $2 a game to play a round of Flappy Bird? It does feel weird when I could be playing it for free.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does feel a little odd.
Yeah, man.
Did you ever get into any of those quiz trivia games, like Quiz Up and Trivia
Um
Crack and all that?
Briefly, I think like that was like middle school, I think.
I think I'm gonna download Quiz Up right now because I just remembered it and I'm like, oh, trivia's fun.
And all the I keep getting seeing these like ads for all these quiz apps that are like, or these survey apps. It's like, yeah, you do a survey, you'll make $10.
Oh, I used to do that too back in the day, which is
Yeah.
like, dude, lockers.com. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I mean, I downloaded this one app. I don't even remember what it was called. This was like a couple weeks ago. And the first survey I did, they said, like, yeah, do this 2-minute survey and get 2 cents. I'm like, man. And I do the survey and they're like, okay, what's your IP address? I'm like, all right, that's enough.
Dude, I was fiending. So I actually unlocked a memory. There used to be apps that existed just to be like deals apps or whatever. Where like you would download the app and it would show you like the app of the day, and it was like some apps would be free that normally are paid. And then like you said, there was like the survey stuff where it's like just for some like $10 for it was like $1 of in-game currency, enter the survey and like give me your credit card information. It's like, well, I need to get this.
Hmm.
Um did you ever play Grawl Online? Did you ever play
Growl
that?
online.
Grawl, Graal. So there's an
GRAAL.
online version of it. Um, there was like a PC version that was very different than the mobile version, but I was on
Hmm.
that mobile version and I was messing stuff up. So it basically was like a Club Penguin esque. It's like, think of Link's Awakening art style with meets
Hmm.
Club Penguin socializing. You can't really do anything. Um, no, that game, dude, that game has a special place in my heart. And I was actually talking to I think it's Joshy Mations. Let me just make sure I'm getting this right. This is the creator of the wonderful Bread and Bread 2 and I think Bread 3 eventually.
I looked up
Um
Grawl online, and one of the first things I saw is Grawl 3D confirmed.
oh, maybe I'll hit that up if they're doing some new stuff. But yeah,
January 13th, 2019.
shouts to Joshy Mations on Twitter and on itch.io and stuff, who made Bread, the wonderful game. But they tweeted out just like, does anyone remember Grawl? And I just responded, I'm like, you just awoken a core memory.
Man.
Um, yeah, Grawl. That game was you would literally just like hang out and talk to people online. In like, it was like a Habbo Hotel Club Penguin style thing.
Hmm.
And one of the elements was you had a house and you could farm bombs. So there was a weird system where you would have bombs in the game, and the bombs would cost money, or you'd farm them or something.
Hmm.
And if you threw a bomb at the currency on the ground in a bush, it would stack the currency. So what you would do is you'd fence off your house, and you would throw bombs, and it would make the currency turn from like a. Do you know in Legend of Zelda how there's rupees where there's like green is like one, then there's like
Yeah.
five is like, yeah, blue. So it would change colors over time and then eventually become like super expensive. So it was this weird money farming system, and you could like automate it if you were cool, and like there was a whole like thing about it. I don't know. That was a very special time in my life playing that game.
Hmm.
But it just I wouldn't say I would get back into that today. But yeah, that is super nostalgic. I think we maybe want to transition into the quiz portion of the show that we prepped earlier for questions.
Yes.
All right, awesome. So if you have a question, you can email us at hyeppodcast@gmail.com. That is the HYEP podcast at gmail.com, the Have You Ever Played podcast.
Yes.
Instead of, we're going to forgo the user questions for today because I found this weird, uh, I found this weird like video game quiz, which actually will be kind of interesting. Let's see. Let's go through it. There's like,
Okay.
let's see, 22 questions. All right. What was the first commercially successful video game? Huh. Well,
I I need a small amount of time to Google this.
don't Google it. You can't go. You cannot. You can't Google during this at all. Why would that? Welcome to the segment of Googling. Yeah. Well, why don't we just go, like read Wikipedia pages verbatim? That would be a cool
I
segment.
believe that would be Pong.
Pong. All right. So
Unironically though.
I know the first game. The first like considered maybe game of electronic would be table. I think it's like Tennis for Two or something, which was like on like
Hmm.
a. It was on like some lab's computer, so it's not really like commercially available.
Yeah,
Pong was the Magnavox Odyssey the first console
I have no clue actually.
before even the Atari. It was like the TV console. Pong sounds like the correct answer, but it might be a
Yeah,
deeper cut. Let's see.
it might be something obscure.
Oh, according to the website, it is Pong.
Pog,
So I
Pong,
Pongers. Um,
Pongers.
yeah, that because for some reason every time it comes up, it's like what was the first video game? A lot of people say Pong, but it's
Yeah.
like technically not true because there's a bunch of like weird stuff. But I don't know.
Hmm.
What is the best selling video game of all time? Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, it's changed so many times. Um,
Yeah, I don't
I think it's GTA 5 still.
GTA 5. I want to say like, well, I mean mobile games can't really be because I mean, I don't think they
Yeah.
count microtransactions. The best selling GTA 5. Oh wait, do they count re-releases cuz Skyrim or a GTA 5?
I I believe it was GTA 5 the last time I looked at this, but
I
it
think you
could have
might be
changed.
right. Or it could be just some curveball. We're idiots. You know what it is? I completely forgot about
Oh, it's
this.
Minecraft, isn't it?
Minecraft.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I completely forgot. Well, it's
Ah,
that I feel like Minecraft is so huge that I don't even remember buying it.
maybe it was
Do you know what I
GTA
mean?
5 was like the most commercially successful or something, or like made the most
Well,
money. I mean,
I
I'm not
mean, I
sure though.
probably over time they have with microtransactions, but I mean, I completely
Yeah.
forgot. Because I bought mine. Do you know I bought Minecraft so long
God.
ago. I was
Yeah.
on Notch's PayPal doing his weird stuff. I haven't even thought about buying Minecraft in
Hmm.
like years. I completely forgot that's a game. I feel like it's also just like everyone has that. Like everyone, no matter how old you are, they have it. You know.
Yeah. Like the moment you said we're idiots, I'm like, oh wait, it's definitely Minecraft.
What year was the Super Nintendo released?
Oh my god.
Oh, it must be the 80s, right?
1987.
Okay,
Final answer.
that's kind of a good answer. Well, all right, here, let's think about this. Like 98 is like PS1, and like that, I think, is like PS1 or like that kind of era. Like the 90s, late 90s is like the
Hmm.
3D kind of movement. I'm assuming 87 sounds like a good answer. All right, let's go with the 80s. Or no, wait, 1991. All right,
Oh wow.
early 90s. All right,
Yeah.
91, late 80s, early
Makes
90s. At least
sense.
we're in like the ballpark, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with dates. I was thinking like
Hmm.
98. It was a really good year for video games. Like I think Half Life One came out. Like Ocarina of Time, I think came out. Like a bunch of games
Hmm.
came out in 1998 that are just like bangers.
Yep.
What is the highest selling gaming console to date? I mean, the Wii. It's probably the Wii,
Um,
right?
I need to think about this for a second.
I wonder if they're thinking about mobile game or like
We or
consoles too. or like handhelds, because it could be like the DS or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think
It
it could.
was. I
Mm.
think it's between. I'm trying to remember. Like it's between Wii, Xbox 360, and PS4. I
But
think it's.
it's the Wii.
I'm pretty sure it's one
Like
of those three. But
everyone has one.
I would say Wii if there was a weapon to my head.
All right. Oh wait, the PS2 though.
Oh, that is true. Actually, that is true. I think it might be the
The
PS2.
everyone had a PS2, especially
Yeah,
because it was a
no,
DVD
yeah.
player.
Not PS4, PS2.
I
Yeah,
don't
actually, it's
know.
Wii or
PS.
PS2. It's definitely one of those.
If they're going consoles, it's Wii or PS2. I think. If they're going handhelds too, there might be. I maybe I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
It was PS2. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
because I was like everyone had a Wii, but no, everyone had a PS2,
Yeah.
especially because it was a DVD player at the time that was cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Also, sad story. I had a PS2 and we didn't have a DVD player at my house, so we were like, we don't know, we can't play DVDs, and no one in my family, including myself, realized the PS2 could play DVDs.
Oh
So we
no,
bought a DVD player later in life,
man.
and it's like we could have just played DVDs. I'm just like I don't know. It was like that was so sad.
Man.
What year was Nintendo founded? Now that's gonna be hard because they were originally a
Ooh.
game company. They made Hanafuda cards and toys. So
Oh.
maybe like the 60s or even earlier, because they could be like really far back. Because
I
they
would say
made
like
like cards.
1954.
I don't know, because they're a Japanese, like they're like an
I
old school company.
I actually I remember I learned about this in like some class I took like
Yeah,
freshman year, but
yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't know
I
if I'm gonna get my like facts straight. I think Gunpei Yokoi, like with the toy, he did like the toy arm, like the giant like extendo arm thing. Like they were a toy
mhm.
company and a card company. What did you guess? Like 1985,
1950
50.
1954. It'd be either I think it's 50s or 40s, definitely.
Okay, I think we were. It says 1989,
Really?
but wait. When did they start? I'm gonna look this up because like Nintendo
Oh.
founding. All right, were they really 1989?
Nintendo was
Oh, so
founded in 1889.
1889. That makes more sense. Okay, yeah, they were way back because that's what I thought, because they were like doing like they were not video games at first. They were obviously doing stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
I knew they've been around for a long, long time. Okay, I don't feel like an idiot now. Okay, I don't think I would
So,
have gotten 1889. I just knew they were around
yeah.
for a real long time.
That's a super
All
early
right, now
because
here's a good question. Blizzard Entertainment is most known for which video game franchise? I would assume World of Warcraft, but I mean like any of them. Like,
I mean I guess it depends on your definition of like most well known. Like are they talking like sales like
I would. It has to be
or
World of
what?
Warcraft, right? I mean, Overwatch is also huge, but
No,
and
it's not
Diablo,
Overwatch though. I definitely would
StarCraft.
say it's not Overwatch.
It has to be World of
I
Warcraft
would
or
say it's not
Warcraft.
Overwatch or StarCraft. I would say
Oh yeah, no.
it's either something Warcraft. It's either some form of Warcraft or Diablo. I would bet. I would bet
World of Warcraft.
World of
Yeah, I
Warcraft,
mean,
or if we're
it's
talking like franchise overall, I would say Warcraft.
yeah, it's World of Warcraft. I mean, think about it though, just like it's still around, big, one of the biggest
Yeah.
MMOs, etc. Although Final Fantasy 14 is more fun. But
Yes.
what video game company collaborated with Sony on the
Wait,
PlayStation?
what was
Okay,
World of Warcraft the answer?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, now what video game collaborated with Sony on the PlayStation? Now, Nintendo did have the option to buy the technology for CDs and stuff from PlayStation, so there does exist a Nintendo PlayStation out there, like a mock-up
Hmm.
model. So, I mean, Nintendo, that did happen, but what company, video game company, collaborated with Sony on the PlayStation? I don't know if they're talking about that, or are they talking about there was a company that some tech, maybe like CDI, like Philips or something,
Yeah, like
with
something
their CDI
random.
weird tech. Do you happen to know this at all?
Nah, I don't.
I'm only thinking that Nintendo connection.
Yeah.
Um, let's just send it.
That'd just be like a weird little fact.
Hey, it was Nintendo originally intended to be an add-on to the NES until that deal fell apart. Yep, I
Pog.
was right. I know my weird I know my weird video game history facts.
Hmm.
That makes me that makes me honestly kind of feel proud in a way that I kind of know some of these answers. Um,
Yeah.
what product did Nintendo first release before taking the world of video games? Well, we know Hanafuda cards and
Yeah.
toys and stuff. Yeah, playing cards. Yeah, we got that right.
Sick.
United States Air Force used what gaming console to create a cluster supercomputer? Probably the Game Boy, right?
Yeah.
Well, wait, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no. God, I wish that we had like
Wait a minute.
a year would actually make it too easy, but
I think I've heard about this story. They like combined. Was it PS? It might have been PS2s again, or play. It might have been PS3s. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know what year they combined. I remember they did something like that where they combined a bunch of things. I'm thinking PS3 for some weird reason. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I guess I would go with PS3. I don't know. This is kind of a.
It was the PS3. Actually,
Sick.
quite powerful at computing at the time. I remember
Yes.
hearing about this factoid somewhere, and it was in the back of my head. Yeah, the PS3. All right, classic one. What food was the character Pac-Man modeled after?
Crap,
Do you know the Pac-Man lore?
I actually don't remember this one. I used to know this. It's like
All right.
The question is very familiar.
So the creator of Pac-Man said in a bunch of interviews why is Pac-Man called Pac-Man? Well, he was originally going to be called Puck-Man, but they didn't want to have people vandalizing the machines in the arcades to, Puck-Man, they can spell something else. So they're like, we'll call him Pac-Man because he goes Paku Paku, which means he's like eating or something like that. I think that's the gist of it. But the story goes the creator was eating a pizza and he took a slice out of the pizza and he's like, there's Pac-Man. And now watch me be completely wrong. All right.
Yeah.
Pac-Man creator Toru Iwatani, Toru was eating pizza when he came up with the idea for the beloved character. Yep.
Pod.
Did you know?
No, I did not
in
know.
the original arcade version of Donkey Kong, what was the name of the character that would later be known as Mario? Do you know this one, Chief?
God, I'm getting hit with all these ones that I feel like I should know.
He's some kind of a man, and he does this. This
Jumpman,
action.
Jumpman.
Yeah, Jumpman. Yeah. Jumpman.
Now.
Yeah, that's a good one. Jumpman. That's classic.
Yeah.
What is the best-selling handheld gaming system to date? Probably the DS.
Yeah, I was thinking DS as well.
Yeah, it's not going to be any of the Sony handhelds. Like, as much as honestly,
the PSP?
The PSP is like a magical device that was slept on. Okay, it is actually great.
The notoriously commercially successful PSP.
Yes, it is slept on, but it's still great. Whatever. It has to be the DS. Maybe the DS Lite specifically, because that was like hotcakes.
Mm-hmm.
Or wait a minute. All right, it has to like. But what about the Game Boy original and stuff? It probably is the DS, right? Everyone had a DS.
It's definitely
grandmas were doing
Nintendo one.
Grandmas were doing math equations and doing brain age. All right, it's the DS. We saw. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
What was the first video game character to have a balloon featured in Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? Okay, I'm thinking Mario or a Sonic.
Yeah, I think it was
arcade.
Sonic. I think I remember it being Sonic.
I think it might be Sonic too. I think we full send it with Sonic, right?
Yeah.
Let's send it.
Yeah, Sonic.
It was Sonic. We did it.
Sick.
Just full send it.
I remember that happening. I remember I saw it on TV. I was walking past the TV and they were talking about it, I think.
Dude, I'm honestly really happy that we're crushing this. We're like we're out here with the deep cuts.
We're so knowledgeable.
What was the most expensive video game made to date? Probably a Rockstar thing, maybe Red Dead 2.
Was it not Destiny?
Was it Destiny?
Destiny
I don't know.
Really expensive, but that might have been surpassed by Rockstar. There was a point where Destiny was the most expensive.
All right. I would say maybe a Red Dead 2. I don't know.
Also, when was this survey, or when was this quiz made?
It's up to 2020, I think.
Up to 2020.
Yeah, I think it's end of 2020.
I'll say Destiny, just throw that in there, but you can say.
I'm just gonna go with.
You can say Red Dead, I guess, if you want.
Okay, wait. So here's the deal. It's Grand Theft Auto 5 with honorable mention to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Apparently, I'm assuming the original. Huh. Yeah, weird. I was in the ballpark.
Yeah, I would have felt safe guessing a Rockstar game too, but damn.
What year was the first virtual reality headset created? Well, if we're going Virtual Boy, I don't know. What was it, the 80s or something? Virtual Boy, 1980. 80s. I'm just gonna send it. Or are we thinking? All right, so probably Virtual Boy. I don't know, 19 whatever.
Yeah, I'll
And
go
then if
with your
Oculus,
answer.
I don't remember when that came out, like 2010s or something.
Yeah.
1995. Oh,
Hmm.
they don't say what it was, so I don't know what they're talking about. But whatever.
Yeah.
What crowdsourced funding platform was responsible for the success of the Oculus Rift? Was it a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo, or one of those?
I have no
Probably
clue.
Kickstarter. It was Kickstarter. We just like went through.
Sure.
How much did all these are VR? What the hell? How much did a virtual reality device cost in 1980? Again, it was probably
$1 billion.
no. It was probably wait. Let me look up. Is 1980 Virtual Boy?
$2.
Virtual
$5.
Boy. Let me. Sorry, I'm gonna look up the Virtual Boy. Yeah, dude. First of all, I just nailed it with the 1980s. Whatever. It was in development in the 80s. Came out in 95. Whatever. Virtual Boy. Uh. I don't know how much that probably cost like $800 then or $600 then. Maybe adjust it now or I don't know. Maybe what do you think? Like $600 or something? I think it was like stupidly expensive for no reason.
Yeah, I would say 600.
Oh well, this wasn't even the question. Apparently, the iPhone one, which is hilarious
What?
name for it was called iPhone, like spelled I like eyeball. Was priced at $49,000. So I guess there was a different virtual headset.
Damn.
Yeah. Okay,
All
all
right.
these are virtual headsets questions that I don't care about. So I'm skipping. What year was the first prototype for a home-based video console developed? I thought it was like the Magnavox Odyssey kind of deal. Again, how are we supposed to come up with these dates? What, like the 70s
Yeah,
or
like
something?
you couldn't at least give us like some multiple choice. Like, man,
1967. Yeah, the 70s,
yeah,
basically.
pretty
Who
much.
released the first flight simulator game? I don't know. Not maybe Microsoft. They've been at it for a while.
First flight simulator game. I don't know.
Speed round, speed round. It was Microsoft. We got it right. What
Sick.
popular dining franchise the founder of Atari also responsible for? Uh, Atari dining franchise. Didn't they do something with Chuck E. Cheese or something weird with that? Isn't there a weird crossover?
Diner Dash.
It was Chuck E. Cheese. I was right. Yeah, because they own both
Chuck
of
E.
them. All right,
Cheese.
I have all these weird knowledge remembered. What position did the creator of Game Boy have at Nintendo? I don't actually don't know. Was that Gunpei Yokoi?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember my
A
names.
janitor. I was gonna say a janitor as a joke, but it was real.
What?
All right, wait. Yeah, gun. Wait, let me
Wait,
look this
there
up.
has to be some like deep lore that like when people joke about the Valve janitor for Valve games,
Was
like
he the
that
was
has to be the
Gunpei the
origin.
Yokoi the Game Boy? His design. I don't know. Sorry, I like did was it Gunpei Yokoi or something? I don't know. I just know Gunpei Yokoi like did like 100,000 things of importance and like super influential. But yeah, well, we did really well for some reason on that.
Sick.
But we're like 7 minutes over time, so let's have a funny comedy ending. All right, James. Now is the spotlight. Give me a tight 5. Give me a tight 5 minutes of comedy. Whatever you want to
Farts.
say. Actually, before that, I'm Matt, aka Matt Fun Dude on Twitter for now, and on Twitch and YouTube. All right, James,
Uh,
go. I'll
farts.
give you 1 whole minute. All right, one
Uh,
whole minute of air time.
lactose intolerance. Um, 7-Eleven slushies. I don't remember what they're called. But
30 seconds to go.
oh god. Twitter die today. Bad.
You're really 40 seconds. Yep. You still got a fat like 20 seconds to go, Chief.
Oh man.
10 seconds.
Um,
You can't fill the air for 10 seconds.
no.
All right, we survived. The end of the podcast. Bye, everyone.